Hey guys, welcome to the In the Galaxy podcast. It's me, Michael G. Ilkison, Gilkison, with my boy Jay Williams. It's cracking, Jay in Kentucky, man.
Going on, man? We're different. We normally shoot 3 podcasts in a night, and because I had some stuff to do after we went long with our guest Ryan Snelling, now we're doing it. It's about 1 o'clock here. What time is it there?
It is 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock here. No, it's about to be
game.
10 o'clock. I can't read.
It's okay. It's all right. So Michael just woke up. He's got his shower on, got his run on, maybe did some other stuff, and we're good to go, right?
Yeah, we're good to go. I didn't jog though, but that's to be done later. But
all right.
How was your parents' party last night? Your parents had a
wild man. It got wild. So my parents, it was my aunt's boyfriend's 50th birthday, and they wanted to kind of couple that with my parents' half 50th birthday, which I know sounds weird, but my parents don't really like a lot of attention on themselves, so they figured they'd just do this now, do it like a surprise thing, and it was awesome, man. We were drinking. That we had moonshine, all that stuff, and it was good. It was good times. Yeah,
it's good old Kentucky fun, man. It's a lot better than Seattle fun, I can tell you that.
What does that mean?
Oh, just fun that people would have in Seattle, since we are talking about a Seattle musician today.
Yeah, they love their soccer up there. I can say that much. So
I've heard Seattle's a great city. One of my favorite comedians, Bill Burr, he came to San Jose to do a show, and I listened to his podcast, and I was like, oh, he's going to talk about San Jose on his podcast. Well, no, he talked about Seattle the whole damn time, and that's all he could talk about. It was just what a great city it was. Because of San Jose, I mean, like, the downtown area is not bad, but it really doesn't have a lot going on. It's where people go to work, and then people leave. You know, I mean, you've got some downtown. It's just weird. It's a very interesting city that I live in.
Theater town, right?
Somewhat, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people from Google, they're the big controversy now is they're buying up all the houses in San Francisco, and Google is busing them from San Francisco into Mountain View, which is just north of San Jose here.
Gotcha.
So people are locals that grew up in San Francisco are losing their homes and stuff because the price of living is going up, and they can't afford to pay what Google people pay. So it's a huge controversy, and I don't know how I got into that, but we're actually reviewing Macklemore's album, The Heist. That is my pick. Yeah. The first time I heard of Macklemore was when I was in Australia. And this Australian kid that's I think he's a senior now, or year 12 is what they say. But he was just like, "Sir, have you heard of Macklemore?" And another kid goes, "Oh, you mean the fat director guy?" And I'm like,
"Oh, I get it." Yeah.
But because of the Australian accent there, they're just like, "Oh, well, no, not him, Macklemore." And I'm just like, "Oh, okay. Well, do you want me to play a song?" Because we're in homeroom, and I played a song. And I was like, "Dude, is this okay to play, like, the language and stuff like that?" And he's like, "Oh, yeah, sure." So he played Thrift Shop, and I've got all these kids in there. And the first line he says, "Walk up into the club like, what up, I got a big cock."
Yeah.
And I'm just like, oh, man, I could get in trouble for this. But they don't give a shit. Like, you can, like, cuss as a teacher there. You could be like, "Dude, shut the fuck up. You're pissing me off." And they'd just be like, "Oh, that's fair."
Yeah. That's funny. So, I want to hear your opinion first. I want you to start on this one just because you went into this with a little bit more of a background than I did. And I'd like to hear your take on it before I give my opinion.
Definitely. For me, I mean, we've all heard the hits. I picked this one just because of the, Grammy Award that Macklemore won. But
which, for the record, it wasn't for Album of the Year. That he didn't win Album of the Year. He won because I looked this up.
Was it Best Song?
It was rap album. It was rap
Oh,
album.
rap album of the year.
Yes.
Okay.
He was up for album of the year along with Kendrick Lamar, as we've discussed before. But actually, it was Daft Punk that won album of the year.
Ah.
So just to clarify.
Oh, well, thanks for that.
No
Because I just like listening to rap, so.
That's all that matters, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't want to phrase it that way. But, like, yeah, so, I've heard of the hits like everybody else, like The Thrift Shop and One Love and this and that, which I think are great songs. But I really wanted to – I hadn't listened to the whole album before, but I really wanted to give this one a shot to see, kind of his other side. And, man, I was really impressed with, like, how fast he could spit. Like, I wasn't too impressed with his flow. He is very talented. Like, when he spits fast, he is very much like Eminem. Because, I'm kind of – at first I was concerned, like, oh, Eminem is a white rapper trying to prove himself. And then here comes Macklemore just cruising in, riding on his coattail. But actually, Macklemore's super talented. He can spit fast. His flow's great. He's an excellent storyteller. A lot of the songs on here, he talks about, like, his drinking problem, about how he drank too much, his sex life. I mean, he just really allows himself to be vulnerable in his music. And you can tell that in these songs. One of the songs that I just wanted to pick to highlight was the Jimmy Levine song. I don't know how you pronounce that, but he's a music producer.
Jimmy Levine, yeah.
He's a music producer and chairman of Interscope Records, according to RapGenius.com. This song is about how Macklemore was so desperate to get signed to a major record label to only find out that record labels rip off their artists. So he actually talks about that in the song, about even the percentage breakdowns that they would get toward the end, about like you get a third of the merch that you sell out on the road along with a third of the money when you make doing your shows. Manager gets 20, booking gets 10. So shit, after taxes, you and Ryan have 7 to split. So I thought that was cool. And since he does do – I heard about a live show when he came to San Jose, and he actually told people at the show, not to buy the merchandise, to, go to this website to buy shirts online or something like that. So I kind of thought that was cool.
That is cool. I think you're seeing that a lot more these days. The band 30 Seconds to Mars, who is Jared Leto as their singer, actually did a really, 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 really good documentary. It's actually on iTunes right now. I can't remember what it's called, but just look up like 30 Seconds to Mars documentary. It's all about the music industry and kind of how they got screwed by their record label. But it literally goes through and breaks down a very complex issue. We've discussed this on the podcast before, but just because you went off on this tangent just for a second, this documentary really breaks it down. And it used to be that the artists, really the only way they could make not major amounts of money, but definitely get money into their pocket was from merchandise sales. But after CD sales started tanking like crazy, the record labels pretty much were saying, oh, we can't make as much here, so we're actually going to take a cut of your merchandise too, which in my opinion is kind of BS. But yeah, I like that. I like that he talked about that in one of the songs. Yeah, I did too. And just another story about him is when he came to do his show in San Jose, there's a lot of 49ers fans. We're going to have the stadium down the road here, about 3 miles from where I live. And it's going to be really close to the new stadium. The Super Bowl is going to be there next year. But never mind about that. I'm just background for the story here. Basic story is lots of Niners fans. So this person walks up to Macklemore, who's from Seattle, all right, and asks him to sign a shirt. And he was like, oh, yeah, sure, I'll sign the back of his shirt. And the guy turns around, and on the back of his shirt he writes, "Go Seahawks," on his Niners shirt. And this was, back when the Super Bowl and the playoffs was going on. Right. So that's just another kind of funny story about him. Because he's a funny guy. Like, Thrift Shop is a funny, clever song, but, I mean, he
he's not afraid to go dark either. I like to see his dark side, like when he's talking about Wings, the song Wings about Air Jordans. And man, he just goes so deep about how, like we put such an emphasis on materialism and, like shoes that a kid would die because some other kid wanted his basketball shoes because, they're poor. So, I mean, it just ties into this other side of thrift shop where, thrift shop's kind of funny. It's like, oh, I only got $20 in my pocket. Can't afford to dress nice, so I'm just going to act like a pimp. Ha, ha, ha. But this song is more like the dark side of it. Like, like the deep, ugly side of, okay, this kid fucking died because of materialism and how we view materialism. And it even kind of touched on the commercial with Michael Jordan and Spike Lee about where the basketball shoes do actually make you jump higher and run faster and make you a better player. So, I mean, it's just kind of propaganda for kids, really, back in that time. So I was glad he touched on that. He does have a theme going on here, with the thrift shop and the Wings song and the other one that I talked about, Jimmy Levine. Yeah, I mean, basically I like his beats a lot. And let me see some other songs. Neon Cathedral, dude. Oh my gosh, that song was crazy. Just talking about how he gets really drunk and goes to church the next morning and he's living this life that he doesn't want to live, but he keeps doing it. I thought it was a little preachy for me, but I mean, I get where he's coming from with his experience with that, but it just came off as preachy to me, but still, I was impressed with it. I like the song Starting Over too, man. And I'll tell you why, because with the death of Philip Seymour Hoffman, and, we talked about him and Drake in the last one in the huge Rolling Stone debacle. But, I mean, like, with like addiction, Russell Brand wrote this article about drug addicts, and he's like, man, people that are addicted to this, their problem is that their reality is not good, and they need something to escape. So when they do these drugs, whether it's alcohol or any of those other substances, they're doing that to escape from their reality. And, you shouldn't give them such a hard time. And Macklemore really touches on that because Alcoholics Anonymous, they give you a date. And it's just like, oh, well, here's your date. And it's like 1 year clean. And then people are like, oh, man, I can't wait to be 1 year clean like you. And it's like, well, take it a day at a time. And it's just really hard when you relapse. It's hard to tell people because they'll be disappointed in you. I was having breakfast. I have breakfast at this bagel shop every morning. And I see a lot of the same regulars come in. And this one guy came in, and me and him were talking. And I was talking to him about how I drank this weekend. I was like, oh, yeah, I drank this weekend. Probably should have taken it a little more chill. But he was like, oh, well, I'm 5 years clean. But, to tell you the truth, man, I drank this weekend too. And I don't want to tell anybody. And, he was like super ashamed of it. And, like he wrecked because 5 years ago he drove drunk, he wrecked his car. And then 5 years just stopped drinking completely, went through AA. And it was just really ashamed. He was ashamed that he only said, he was like, oh, I just had 2 beers. I just had 2 beers, man. I was like, really? You just had, that's not that bad at all. And he was just like, yeah, I know, but, my family would really be ashamed of me if they knew that I drank again. And I'm like, yeah, man, but you were smart about it. You didn't drive. It took a hell of a lot of commitment to quit for, 5 years. You should be proud of that. So that's kind of the issue that I have with Alcoholics Anonymous that he touches on is, if you mess up, you just move on. Just move on. I think people put way too much emphasis on that date. So,
yeah, I think, just to kind of carry on with this conversation, I think it's both ways. I mean, there's people out there that really struggle with alcoholism. Like it's a legitimate addiction and stuff like that. And then, I can't speak on behalf of this guy, but if you have a bad experience where you drive drunk and wreck your car and this and that, and you want to stop drinking, doesn't necessarily mean you're an alcoholic because you did that. I mean, there's plenty of people out there that'll, have an issue because of drinking that isn't to alcohol or whatnot. And yeah, and I mean, I don't want it to seem like, and I don't think you intended this, that to paint with a broad brush. Alcohol in general, not everybody that drinks alcohol is drinking alcohol to escape reality.
Exactly.
People with an addiction, or people with an addiction, or people looking to do that is one thing. But like, me personally, I like beer. Like, I enjoy the taste of beer. And I can, when I go out to a bar to drink, I just want to have a good beer. Like, I don't go out with the intention of getting drunk. I don't go out with the intention of doing this or that. So it is weird the way that society, I think, kind of, I don't know. So there's various edges to society, but I think the one that you're touching on is this kind of blanket that they throw over substances. And I'm not praising like alcohol use or drug use or whatever. I'm just saying, like,
it's not a black or white issue.
Yeah, they try to throw a blanket over it, and it's just like, this is bad. And it's like, look, I agree that it's not constructive, but it's not all bad. You know what I mean? It's just like, I don't know. Obviously, there are drugs that are just straight up bad, but I mean, like alcohol, it's a legal drug for a reason. Because it can be dealt with in moderation, but there are some people there's people that can be addicted to anything. You know what I mean? If you're going to be addicted to something, if you have an addictive personality, you're going to be addicted to something. So.
Right.
Yeah.
I agree 100% there.
Yeah.
That's to go along with that. It's not a black or white issue to me. So
Right.
There's plenty of variables to go with it. To just kind of touch on the last thing with this, kind of with my review. Let me just do a quick run. Cowboy Boots, the song Cowboy Boots, I thought that was an interesting blend of country music and rap and some other genres mixed in together. I thought it was very interesting how they put that together. I wasn't necessarily a fan of it. I probably won't listen to it ever again, but I appreciated what they did with it. Victory Lap, I thought that was a great song to end on. I really like that as far as sequencing goes. Really, really liked that. The song Thin Line, I liked that a lot. Of course, you've got Can't Hold Us, Thrift Shop, and Same Love. I mean, the three, club bangers per se. Gold, I thought that one was cool. I guess the song My Oh My about King Griffey Jr. winning the World Series. I think it's cool that he has such a commitment to his hometown and, nostalgia. Like when he talks about being a kid and, like me and Jay do that a lot too, where we'll talk about Power Rangers or how he used to make me laugh in Miss Bat's class in 5th grade, that they separated us across the room and then we would just do sign language to each other and he would still make me fucking laugh my ass off. So the next year they separated us in 6th grade to not even be in the same class anymore. So, I mean, I really like when people get nostalgic. So
yeah, we were bad kids.
We were very bad kids. Well, it's not that. We wanted to watch wrestling. We just wanted to do what we were interested in.
I think we just didn't give a shit about what the teachers had to say. So,
well, I mean, we had a lot of synergy as well, because, like when we were when you're separated us, it's like, oh shit, I'm just bored now. But when we're together, it's like, oh fuck, we have a lot of shit we want to talk about.
Right. Hence why we're doing this podcast. But.
Exactly, because we're just like, you know what? Maybe we're just narcissistic, but it's just like, you know what? Our conversations are so important that everybody needs to hear them. I don't know. Yeah. But yeah, I guess to wrap up my review with Macklemore's The Heist, I'll give it a B, B minus. I'd say B minus. I definitely came into this respecting him a heck of a lot more now that I know his dark side and all the work that he put in. And it's not a one-note album. It's got a bunch of different things to it. So, yeah, man, I'm more impressed with him now after listening to it than I was before. I was afraid it was just hype before, of where they're just like, oh, well, we got to kind of make a white rapper look a little good. But it wasn't that at all. I think he earned I definitely think he earned a new spin on a perspective in the rap community. I really believe that. So that's my final analysis. Mr. Williams.
To get into this.
Oh, sorry. I think we froze for a little bit.
There's been a little freezing. That's okay.
Yeah, we're just gonna think. Who do I pay? Yeah, we'll just think AT&T for this.
Okay.
And my old apartment building.
Fair enough. Yeah, if it gets a little frozen, that's all right. You'll get the gist of my review, I'm sure. So this album for me, like, I obviously knew who Macklemore was. I literally had not heard anything from him. I stay away from the radio as much as possible. I don't really stay away from popular music, but it's just like, if there's popular music that I'm going to get into, it typically finds its way to me, if that makes sense. And Macklemore just had not found its way to me. So I didn't even know what type of music it was. I didn't know if he was, he could have been country for all I knew.
Really?
So, I had no clue about him. So that's just the bubble that I live in or don't live in, I guess. But anyway, so just first off, like, the first major thing I can say to just go across this whole album is the talent level of Macklemore and Ryan Lewis is undeniable. Like, Macklemore, he's a great lyricist. I think he's a really good lyricist, probably his strongest point. His flow so much I'm not really into. He's a talented rapper. He can rhyme. My biggest problem with Macklemore is he's a little melodramatic. Like, he's like, I like that he's so vulnerable. I like that he's so he can kind of open the door on. Here's the thing about white rappers, and I really can only speak on a handful that I know, mainly the big one being Eminem. But, like, I feel like if you're a white rapper, it's the new cliche is that you have to be introspective. Like, does that make sense? Like,
yeah,
it's like white rappers, I feel like, are becoming like the emo, like, of the genre. Like, it's just like they're so introspective, and I think that's great to a certain extent. But there's certain points in this album where I was like, dude, is this guy gonna fucking just start crying here? Like just
yeah.
And I don't mean this in a mean way, but I feel like Macklemore needs to get punched in the face. Like, I just feel like, dude,
he needs to harden up a little bit, like
a little bit, yeah, exactly. Like, dude, you're up there in Seattle. I've never been to Seattle. It seems like a great place to go, but all the rest of those artsy fartsy douchebags, just like, take a swift punch in the face, man up, grow a beard, and go and chop some wood. But with that being said, I still think he's very talented. Now I'm gonna have to go from his performance level to the other performance level with Ryan Lewis. So Ryan Lewis is the straight up producer on this record. I don't know does he sing on it at all? I don't think he does.
No,
he just produces, right?
Yeah, I think he just does the beats and stuff.
Okay, so pretty cool thing to do, to have this. It's not Macklemore's record. It's Macklemore and Ryan Lewis. Like, that's what it is. That's what it is. So Ryan Lewis, very talented producer, very extremely talented producer. There's a lot going on in these records. My biggest issue and problem with his producing on the record is it sounds a little lowbrow. Like it sounds a little low hanging fruit on the tree for me. Like it's very technical and it's very good at what he does. You can tell he puts a lot of effort into it, but like I feel like every single one of these beats were just made for radio. Like I feel like they were just so it just almost way too accessible, like between pianos, like the overuse of pianos to he throws in these soul like stuff. Basically, he's doing every single thing that every major Kanye hit ever did. Like not major Kanye hit because Kanye can do some crazy stuff, but like you go back and listen to Good Life or Gold Digger or I don't know, just some of his really big club banger songs, and they're just like they're kind of the same for me. And with that being said, some of the songs on here that stand out to me as being good, I like the Thrift Shop song. It is a fun song. It's a very fun song with kind of a tongue-in-cheek message of it's fashion. It's all about fashion, and he's talking about fashion, but then he pretty much like, look, this isn't me. Like this whole fashion thing, like this high dollar fashion, I can rap about it, but that's not me. I don't have the money to spend on stuff like this. Like I think that's pretty neat. Same Love, that's an incredible song. That's a really, really, really good song. Obviously, I guess that's one that he's pretty known for, I guess. I don't know. But that's a really good song, well written. Ryan Lewis, the chord progression on it. I swear from the second the song started and I heard the initial chord progression, like in the opening 5 seconds of the song, I knew that this song was going to be a classic, good song. Just from that chord progression alone.
He performed this at the Grammys just as a FYI and just, nailed the song.
Yeah. Neon Cathedral is a great song, or a good song. Wings is a good song. Gold, I didn't care for that song that much. But basically, the biggest thing I can say is their individual talents, great. I applaud you for that. But everything just on this record is just so for me uninteresting. It's just not interesting to me. I can tell that they're pop, or I can tell that they're very talented individuals, but it's just so made for radio. You know what I mean? It just seems very made for radio.
Oh, I agree with that. The reason why I didn't touch on, Thrift Shop was his first single, I believe, and then Can't Hold Us, and then Same Love. I didn't touch on those that much because they were overplayed on the radio.
Yeah.
Like very, very overplayed.
Well, and it seems like that's kind of what they did here. It kind of seems like that maybe even on some of the deeper cuts in this album, they just basically said, well, here's what we know works, so we're just going to try to keep doing this through the whole record. And that's fine. Like, that's okay to do that to a certain extent. But I just, like, I don't know. I want to hear something interesting. I want to hear something, I don't know, just something that makes me think a little bit more that I didn't see coming. From each song to the next, once I'd heard it, I was like, I knew this was coming. 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 Not that they're bad. It's not making them bad. It's not. None of this is offensive to me. This isn't Jay-Z's Magna Carta Holy Grail. Okay, this isn't offensive. Which
you loved, right?
False. That's false.
Yes.
And the reason I hated that record is because I know what Jay-Z can do, and it's a lot better than what the rest of that is. They're doing okay. It's just not. I just want you to if you know how to play guitar, I applaud you because I can't play guitar. I can't rap like Macklemore. But that doesn't mean that you're good at guitar just because you know how to play it. It's just like that's kind of how I feel about this record. But I don't know. Final grade for me, it's going to be a C+. Just I don't hate it. Would I ever listen to it again? No, I'm not offended by it. It's just not. I don't know. I'm just like, I guarantee you, he needs to put another record out soon because if he doesn't, people are going to forget about him. That's all I'm going to say about it. It gets lost in the mix of a lot of other stuff. And how in the hell this record beat out Kendrick Lamar, Kanye West, Yeezus, and Drake, who were also nominated, which Jay-Z's Magna Carta Holy Grail was nominated. Obviously, we know why that didn't win. But those other records, come on. I'd say out of all of those records that were in that best rap, this was the second worst after Magna Carta Holy Grail. I mean, Kendrick Lamar should have won. Probably Yeezus in second, or maybe tied with Drake, in my opinion. But
yeah.
What do you think? I mean, after hearing all of those records, what is your kind of your breakdown and your top records?
Man, I mean,
from those 5.
So in the last podcast, or maybe it was, I don't think we talked about this in the podcast, but you guys were talking about the different genres of metal music and like just trying to be like, oh, well, this is more this type of. There's several different types of rap music. Like, first of all, there's just that hood beat of where it's just like,
oh yeah,
you lay back a groove to it, and you're just like, yeah, right. And it doesn't have to be anything like complicated. It could just be like my mind on my money and my money on my mind, and then like bitches, It's like nothing complex. Well, then you've got more technical stuff. You've got the more technical lyricists that do guitar solos, like the Eminems, I'll definitely say Macklemore is one in this category. Kendrick Lamar is one in this category, and just that type of thing. Lyricists and telling stories. That's kind of an offshoot of that. So, I mean, it's hard to judge what category you want to, use. I think I love Jay-Z's album. I think it's definitely hood. It's got that hood beat. It's definitely more in a genre with what was the other album? Drake. Yeah, it's definitely more in the album with Drake, because they're just like, I'm on a worst behavior, and fuck with me, I got it.
My original question though, and I'm not letting you off the hook. I want to know, out of those 5 records, which is your favorite?
Which is
it's
my
an easy
favorite?
Question, Michael. Yeah, it's not an easy question.
Damn. It's hard for me, though, because I could pick 2 songs off each album. I'd say Macklemore's my least favorite.
Okay.
All right. Drake. It's got to be Drake for me.
Drake's your favorite. Fair enough.
Yeah. There's. Yeah. I love Drake's music.
Just knowing you. Let me see if I can pick it for you, because I've known you for a long time. Yeah. Drake 1, Yeezy 2. Jay-Z 3, Kendrick Lamar 4, and Macklemore 5.
You got it, dude. Yeah.
I feel like, and in your head, it would be hard to switch, or you can maybe switch. Nah, I don't think you'd switch Jay-Z and Kendrick Lamar. I think Kendrick Lamar.
Actually, yeah.
You could do that.
Yeah, I could actually.
Yeah. The more I listen to that Kendrick Lamar record, the more it grows on me in terms of listenability. You know what I mean? Like, I can. Because at first I was just like, I just respect what he's doing. I respect the whole body of work. But the more I listened to it, I was like, I could listen to some of these songs one-off, which I think is an incredible feat in and of itself.
Yeah, dude, just the new stuff. I felt that way with Mad City single and Backseat Freestyle, where I'm just like grooving to it, man.
Poetic Justice is sick too, man.
I love that. And even Swimming Pools.
Yeah, I don't care for that so much, but that's okay. Anyway, we should probably wrap this up. Anything else you want to add?
No. Should I do my pick for you next week?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
The album that I'm picking for you to listen to next week, and we kind of talked about this off the show last night, because I kind of know what you're going to pick for me. I'm picking for you the album Hotel California by Tyga, released in 2013.
We actually didn't talk about this at all.
Well, you mentioned a lyric. You mentioned a lyric from the album that you're picking for me.
Oh yeah.
On that, it reminded me of an artist. But I was struggling with which Tyga album I want you to listen to. I think I'm actually gonna change it on. Well, no. I'm gonna stick with my choice.
Hotel California, like the Eagles.
Hotel, yeah, just like the Eagles, simply because, that song lyric, but I don't know which one it's on. But this is Tyga. Tyga is signed by Young Cash Money / Young Money Records, so he's affiliated with Lil Wayne and Drake and all those guys. So I'm curious to see what you're going to say about him, especially after hearing your thoughts on, Kendrick Lamar, Macklemore, and all the other rap albums.
Yeah. Cool, man. So, next episode, we're reviewing my pick, which is Sone's Tremors album. Just came out this past week, which is kind of exciting for us to do something that's this new.
Yeah.
You stick around, everybody. So
cool. Thanks for listening, guys. We'll catch you later. Peace.